guys, Scott Brockamp with his security. Welcome to Survivor Saturday. I have Amy with us here today, and I hope that you listened to Julie's story last week, and I really hope that more than anything you get hope. We really want to make sure that people realize that there is help and there is hope available through breast cancer and any form of cancer that you may be battling or dealing with, or some loved one that you know is dealing with. And so, of course, it's October, and our focus is around breast cancer. And us here at His Security, we dive in full force. We dove head first into this initiative, and so we're raising money to help American Cancer Society. And our Real Men Wear Pink campaign is going strong. So obviously, your support is very much so needed, which is an important reason why we have Amy here with us today, is because what we do really does affect people and touch people's lives and makes a difference. And so we want to be able to share that with you guys. So Amy, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Well, it's I love being able to help our communities and help local people, and that's really what it's about. So Amy is a survivor, and so in your mind, Amy, in your heart and your soul, what does being a survivor, what does that mean to you?
So oddly enough, while it's exhilarating, it's also terrifying, and there's a lot of guilt. I know that sounds odd, because you would think, oh yay, like I'm a survivor. At the end of my surgery, the 10-hour surgery that I had, the doctor came in my room and said, Amy, because you went so aggressive in your choice, you can actually use the word cure for your cancer. And that's huge. I was able to avoid chemo and radiation by early detection. And that's always been my message to other women and men as well, is that you have to focus on, not just the C word, because we all know the scary C word, right? But there's another C word, and it's cure.
Yeah.
And if you do everything that you can to fight cancer the way that you feel you need to, that's on the horizon as well.
It is, and we have more options available to us today than we've ever had, and a lot of it is thanks to technology, but thanks to funds that we have the ability to go and find different sources and resources. So when you first got this diagnosis, what went through your mind?
So first of all, every generation in my family has had cancer. Yeah, I lost, my mother had breast cancer, my aunt had breast cancer, my cousin had breast cancer, my father passed away of colon cancer, and his passing was just a few months before I was diagnosed.
Wow.
And I had watched him fight with stage 4 colon cancer for 6 years. He's the toughest man I've ever known in my entire life. He was amazing, absolutely amazing. And I thought, you know what, it wasn't really a thing of if I get cancer, it was when in my mind, and I had already made up my mind that I was going to fight like he did, I was going to fight like Roy and see what happens, And so that was kind of my plan before I even knew I had cancer. And the doctor didn't even want to do the biopsy, because he said, well, I think it's a red herring. I really don't think that we have cancer here. And my heart just said no. So I insisted that we do the biopsy. And the doctor called me 2 days later and said, wow, I'm so glad that I did that, because it was cancer. And immediately, I just gained face and said, okay, tell me what I need to know, and he told me, everything about it, here's the type it is and all that. And he said, we'll meet in my office in 2 days, they'll call and schedule an appointment. So I spent the next 48 hours doing as much research as I could, because I wanted to walk in there with a plan. I didn't want to go in and let his choice be my path, So it was crazy how much research I did. My husband was terrified, he's like, you can't look at the internet, there's bad things on there. And I'm like, yeah, but that's education, because you have to understand understand what you're getting ready to go through.
That's true.
You know?
The good and the bad.
Exactly. And he said radiation would be on the horizon for me, and I decided I didn't want that. You know, so I went way more aggressive.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it's when Julie was here last week and we were talking, you know, a very similar experience. There was oh no, there's no way it's cancer. It's you know, it's nothing to worry about. You're too young. You're this. You're that. You're everything else. And her persistence brought her to early detection as well.
Yeah.
And so you know, for me, I think it's one of the things that I am so passionate about talking about is that, you know, I've learned a lot about palliative care. I lost my stepfather recently, and he had a prostate battle, and really it severely affected him coming through that battle. But when he was coming to the later stages of life, they were talking about palliative care, and it was the first time I'd ever heard the term and learned about palliative care. And basically what I learned was is that all that is a group of people and a huge resources to help you through whatever you need to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I was at a seminar at the UT Cancer Research Facility, and they were talking about palliative care and how there's such a misconception about that. And that our doctors and our medical fields need to understand that it's not a bad word. You know, we need to share that because it's the help, it's the love, it's the everything we need to get through these types of things. And so, you know, you and I had talked previously a little bit about this, and you weren't really aware of the American Cancer Society or what they did or how they could operate and participate in your diagnosis and through your battle. And that's one of the things that, to me, it's what I scream the loudest. You know, anybody that I ever talk to that even mentions cancer, I say, go to your local American Cancer Society. They're the resource, you know. And you walk in down on Wise Garden, you walk in the door, and even when I walk in, you know, it's just the smiles, the love, the enthusiasm that is in that office is amazing.
Yeah.
But the men and women down there, I can tell you that, I mean, the first thing they do is they want to give you that hug, and they want to help, you know, and there's so much that people don't know that is available to them is help. And so, you know, tell me about that struggle, since you didn't really have that resource. You know, you did a lot of research yourself. How did you kind of make that transition from diagnosis to survivorship to a cure?
Sure. Well, so the hard part for me, like I had mentioned earlier, is the guilt. And it's still there, you know, and it sounds crazy that, you know, because you would think, oh, you should be grateful. Oh, I am, absolutely, 100% grateful. But when you walk along with people, you know, other women and men who are battling it, and their battle is different from yours, and you can't relate. You know, I can't relate to losing my hair. You know, I can't relate to feeling that horrible doing chemo or radiation or whatever their path is, you know. But for whatever reason, God put me on this path, and it's been a blessing. As crazy as that sounds, you know, I have only spoken to one other person who actually admitted to me that she felt that her cancer diagnosis was a blessing because she was able to help others.
Yeah.
You know? And I said, that's exactly how I feel. You know, I've talked to so many women who have said, you know, I'm so glad that you went aggressive, you know, and you did actually, because I did double mastectomies with a reconstruction at the same time. And the reason I did that was because I was not going to ever have to worry about it coming back. You know, I mean, there's always a slim chance, but I knew in my heart, you know, if I give it everything that I've got and cancer still wins, then I win because I fought as hard as I could.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always looked at it. When my father was at UT, you know, very ill, terminal, the palliative care team there was amazing, absolutely amazing, you know, and they came in, and I will never forget, one of the women told me, she said, any decision made out of love is the right decision. And I've carried that with me, and I feel like that's that's something that everybody at every stage of their cancer journey needs to understand, you know? Because it's so hard in the beginning with everybody telling you, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And you get to the point you don't even want to talk to anybody about it, you know? And then you make it through your journey and you're on the back side and people don't really understand what you went through, and then suddenly it becomes taboo, you know? So there's just so much about it that I think we don't understand. So having a team would have been so much helpful to me. You know, I mean, my husband is amazingly supportive. You know, my two sons, you know, they're now 13 and 15. I'm 39. You know, that's young to have to go through all that. You know, but they rallied around me, and you know, they were go team, and it was really awesome. You know, and I'm so grateful for them. But it would have been nice at that stage to have had more women in my circle who had experienced what I have, you know. And since then I've met some amazing people.
Yeah.
And so that's truly been a blessing. But that's really my goal with all this is how can I use my experience to help others?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it was mine, I caught it early, but it was grade 3, you know, meaning if it had come back, if I hadn't caught it early, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking.